distance. Eliminated. System reactivated.
could do this all day. Gotcha.
Another agent has joined your group. Rogue, restore hive detected. Rogue blinder fire hive detected. Rogue assault turret detected. Rogue defender drone detected. Rogue incinerator turret detected. Rogue artillery turret detected.
What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now this is going to be my max protection from elites build. This is for PVE, and obviously you want to use this in heroic and legendary content. What I am using it in is solo legendary summit, and I've been actually having a lot of fun with it. What I just showed you guys was gameplay of me using this build on legendary floors, killing rogue agents, going up to floor 100, clearing out that first part, and even using it with the hunters. And then after this build breakdown, I'm going to show you guys the numbers at the firing range. But without further ado, let's go inside and talk about this build. Alright. Now shout out to the DoD Disciples of Doom. So this is going to be my max protection from elites build. It is a pistol build, and actually you're able to use all the weapons with this build. The protection from elites really helps out with any sort of engagement, especially with legendary and heroic content. I keep stressing that because that is where you're going to find the most, if not all, the elite NPCs within the Division 2. Especially on those higher floors of the summit. I do notice that if you put it on legendary difficulty and you are not at higher floor levels, you are more likely to get the red and purple NPCs. And for some reason, even the RNG puts red and purple NPCs even up to like floor 90. But I have noticed that, you know, floors 95 to 100 have been a breeze. And especially with this build, it's ridiculous. You can sit there and face tank rogue agents, you can face tank wally bots, you can face tank dogs. It does not matter. With this much protection from elites, it's pretty much a game changer. The way that I use this build is more damage with sustainability, you know, on the back side. Meaning for that is with the build itself, it actually has 4 red core attributes. And I know using this for heroic and legendary content, a lot of people want to see a lot more blues. They want to see, you know, unbreakable. They want to see things like that so that they can have max sustainability for that harder PvE content. However, what I have noticed is that having different buffs and different stats can outweigh your sustainability and give you a chance to up your damage. Basically what I'm trying to say is the amount of protection from elites that you get with this talent, Adrenaline Rush, which I am using the named variant, so I actually have perfect Adrenaline Rush. So I get 23% bonus armor for every enemy that is within 10 meters of me. That only maxes out to 3, so I only get 69% bonus armor, giggity. But I do have 1.1 million armor base, so giving me another 69% is going to bump me up near that 2 million armor mark. Not only that, but I'm using a shield. Because my primary weapon is my pistol, I have the shield on top of that, and the protection from elites does help out your shield. So even though that my bulwark here is at 6.4 million health, it doesn't matter because the damage mitigation is at 80%. So yeah, like it's insane. You guys have to rewind that gameplay and just watch me face tank those rogue agents. It's ridiculous. It's on Legendary Summit going against rogue agents, and I am dead squared up in their face, and they are just shooting away at me, and you barely see the health bar on my shield go down. It's insane. So what I do is I hide behind that shield, I bump up that protection from elites, which if you go to my stats, here we go. We're at 80% protection from elites. This is max. You cannot get more than 80% on paper. I'm telling you right now because this build technically has 82% and it's still showing 80. I've been farming for better mods to get it up past 82, but it seems that no matter what I do, I just cannot get this number over 80%. I have heard from other content creators like Mark of Blades, who's done a protection from elites build in the past. He's noted that 80% is max. I myself was taking it as that's just, you know, the max that he had his build at, because I saw that he had some lower protection from elites mods. So I threw on higher mods on this one, and still it is stuck at 80%. So he is right. The cap is 80%. So this is a max protection from elites build. With that 80% mitigation from elites, you are able to face tank basically any enemy at those higher floors in the summit. And you can sit there and go to the strongholds that you can do legendary missions with and easily go through it, because a majority, if not all of the enemies, will be elites. So I think that I've explained the sustainability part pretty well. Let's look at the damage part. So what I'm doing with damage is I put 4 red core attributes on the build. I am using Intimidate, so I do get that 35% amplified damage. So having that and the 4 core attributes, then you got to look at my mask. I'm using that Punch Drunk, which gives me that headshot damage. So then looking at the Liberty, base damage is at 526. And then if I just skip straight to the stats, I'm already at 170% headshot damage. And I'll go through the talent for the Liberty pistol, but basically if I shoot them in the chest over and over and then shoot them in the head, I get even more damage. So add that with the amplified and the 170% headshot damage, we're doing really well with the damage part of this build. So using the 80% protection from elites and that perfect adrenaline rush, we have the sustainability in place. If you think you don't, you could switch out one of the skills, meaning the pulse, and you could put a revive hive on there if you don't feel that you could just solo everything. But I'm telling you right now, as far as my experiences, Legendary, heroic content is easy. It's a cakewalk, especially with this build. You can use the primary and the secondary weapon and still have the same effects. You do not have to hide behind the shield. However, the shield does greatly improve your sustainability, especially when you're using the pistol. But if you're running around with, the AR or the SMG, you're still going to do a lot of damage with that intimidate amplified damage talent. So let's go through the build. We're using the survivalist specialization. Reason being is the survivalist specialization tree, the talent tree that comes with the specialization, actually gives you 10% protection from elites. And you can check that by going to their stats and then actually pulling up the protection from elites. On the right side of your screen, you can see under talents, it's that elite defense, and that's from your survivalist. So that's why we're using it. The crossbow is pretty fun to use, but we're primarily just using it for the protection from elites. Now the weapons I'm using, my primary is the Savage Wolverine, and my secondary is a Vector 45 ACP. Looking at the Savage Wolverine, this one is the named Honey Badger with Perfectly Close and Personal. Perfectly Close and Personal gives you that weapon damage at 38% for 10 seconds after you kill an enemy within 7 meters. You're going to be close to enemies regardless because you want the adrenaline rush to proc. And once you have the adrenaline rush procced, that's when you get the amplified damage from your intimidate. So all of this kind of molds into each other, and this is just another step for more damage. So killing an enemy with this weapon, you get the 38% weapon damage, and then you can run and gun for a little bit, especially if it's like elite rushers where their armor is not that high. You can definitely mow it down with this weapon. Now this Savage Wolverine is at 97.7k total damage. That's with max AR damage, 16.5 health damage, and 9% damage to targets out of cover. Looking at the mods I'm using, they are all for weapon handling and accuracy, just to make it more of a laser beam because we are doing this for PVE. I'm not spec'd into crit at all, so I want the weapon to be more stable and accurate. Therefore, the more shots I land, the more damage I can do downrange. And then for the magazine, you want the sturdy extended to bump that magazine up to 50 rounds. Going to the secondary, this is the Vector 45 ACP. This one is God rolled for crit, so it has max SMG damage, max crit chance, and max crit damage. What I did is I just rolled the talent close and personal on here for the same logic that I use the primary weapon. So I'm going to be up and close to these enemies, so getting a kill with this weapon will give me 30% weapon damage for 10 seconds. So the Savage Wolverine will give you 38% weapon damage, and then using the normal close and personal will give you 30. Now this Vector is at 82.4k total damage, and again that's with that max SMG damage attribute. Now looking at the attachments for the Vector, I'm actually spec'd more into crit just because this Vector comes with that 21% crit chance and 10% crit damage, so I can spec more into that and try to get more out of it. So for the optic, I'm using the Russian red dot, and what that does is give me 5% crit damage. For the short grip, I get 5% more crit damage, and then for the flash hider, again 5% crit damage. Going to the magazine, I'm using the oversized mag, which bumps this Vector up to 45 rounds in the magazine. And then finally, the sidearm. This is actually going to be our primary weapon with this build, because I am using this with the shield just for max sustainability. So this Liberty is at 526.1k total damage, and that's with max pistol damage and max damage to targets out of cover. So the talent that comes with this weapon is called Liberty or Death. Hitting targets grant you 2% weapon damage, stacks up to 30. Now the headshots will consume all of these stacks, and it will also repair your shield. 3% per stack. So if you have a max 30 stacks, you will have 60% weapon damage, and then when you shoot the enemy in the head, you will have 90% shield repair for that headshot. Like, that's insane. Using the Liberty with the shield is a must because of that talent alone. You can shoot enemies in the chest all day, and then as soon as you get to the boss, shoot them in the head. And as soon as you shoot them in the head, it'll consume all those stacks into damage, and you're already at 170% headshot damage with this build. So you're getting some crazy numbers. I'll show you in the firing range as soon as I'm done with this build breakdown. So there are your weapons. Now looking at the build itself, I'm using one Douglas and Harding for the pistol damage and headshot damage. I'm using two Walker, Harris, and Co. That's for weapon damage and damage to armor. So I'm really spec'd into damage for this build, but with that protection from elites, the sustainability is too good to ignore. Now, I am using the Adrenaline Rush with the Intimidate, and I've already explained how those work. Now, what you don't know is I'm using an improvised holster, knee pads, and gloves for this build. Meaning, you actually have to go to the crafting station to make these items. So this is going to be a little bit harder to come by when making this build. In fact, let me show you exactly at the crafting table before I go through these gear items. Okay, so getting to the crafting table. Let's say gloves, for example. You can go to the next category, and third category down you can see other. You have improvised gloves or random brand gloves. You want the improvised. Reason being is it comes with a mod or gear mod slot. So for each of those, what I'm doing is I'm putting protection from elites on them for the mod slot. I'm doing that all across the board. So I have 6 protection from elites mods. And just from that alone, you have 72 protection from elite. And then with my protection from elites from the survivalists, you get another 10%. So you're at 82, but the cap is at 80. So that's why it shows 80%. But alright, getting into the gear items. Starting off with the mask. This is the Punch Drunk mask. It is your named Douglas and Harding mask. What you get from the Douglas and Harding brand set bonus for this build is 20% pistol damage. What makes this so special is it comes with the attribute headshot damage at 20%. So this is a pretty cool mask to run. In my opinion, it's the best in slot when using a pistol build, especially if you're using the Liberty. So it's pretty much a no-brainer in my book. Now, as far as the attributes, I have 14.9 weapon damage, that 20% headshot damage, and then 6% crit chance. For that mod, obviously, I'm using protection from elites. This one, 12%. Going to the backpack, this is the Matador. It's your named Walker Harris & Co. backpack with perfect adrenaline rush. Now the Walker Harrison Co. brand set bonuses we get from this build: 5% weapon damage and 5% damage to armor. Now as far as the attributes, I rolled 170% armor. It came with 4.7 crit chance and 7.6 headshot damage. For that mod, again, protection from elites at 12%. Now another thing I want to add is you need to have headshot damage on every piece of the build. That's how I'm up to 170%. Not all of my attributes are maxed out. However, if they were, you could get towards even 180, 190, maybe even 200 headshot damage for a Liberty build. Pretty insane. Now again, the perfect adrenaline rush gives me that bonus armor, which procs my intimidate and gives me that amplified damage. Going to the chest piece, this is the Walker Harrison Co. chest piece. This one with intimidate, which gives me that 35% amplified damage. Now the attributes: 13.9 weapon damage, I rolled headshot damage at 10%, and then 11.5 crit damage. For that mod, again, protection from elites, 12%. Improvised holster. This one came with max weapon damage, weapon handling at 5.5, and then I rolled headshot damage at 10%. Again, protection from elites on every gear item. Oops. Now going to the improvised knee pads, I rolled weapon damage at 15%. It came with 6.6 headshot damage and max crit damage. And then again, protection from elites for that mod slab. And then finally, improvised gloves. This one I rolled armor at 170k. This one came with 6.6 headshot damage, 9.4 crit damage, and then again, protection from elites. Now the skills, you can change a little bit, meaning you could probably just change one. I'm using the Bulwark Shield, this one with 6.4 million health, and that's at tier 2. Now you could probably change this to a Crusader Shield, but I would highly recommend just sticking with the Bulwark. Now the other skill that I'm using is the Jammer Pulse. This works perfectly for the drones, and it works perfectly for the other NPCs that throw out skills. Now jamming enemies tend to give them a little disorient effect for a second, and you can focus them down. But you could probably change this out for a revive hive if you feel like you need it, or maybe a heal or something like that. But for me, the Jammer Pulse seems to be perfect, and I especially love it for the drones. Now let's finish up with the stat sheet. So for the weapon stats, I'm going to pull up the Liberty. Here we go. So 526k weapon damage. That's with 25.7 crit chance, 77.9 crit damage, and 170% headshot damage. I do have armor damage at 5%. Going to the offensive tab, I have 73.8 all weapon damage bonus and 50% pistol damage bonus. So every time I use the Liberty, I have 123.8% damage bonus total. Now going down to the defensive tab, 1.1 million armor, pretty much on the dot, and 300k health. I do have some explosive resistance and hazard protection, but that's from my watch level. And there you have it. That is my max protection from elites build. I use this with the Liberty, and I am at 170% headshot damage. Yeah, let's look at the firing range real quick, and then I will let you guys go. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys like this build, how you guys run your pistol build. I'm pretty sure everyone has a pistol build by now, and if not, the Liberty is pretty much the way to go. I myself am a huge fan of the TDI Custom, the new named card, but the Liberty just has so much damage, it's insane, pretty much. Alright, so we're sitting here at 5 meters, and what did it say? I think it said 30. So let's just do, we'll do 3 or 4 round magazines, and then I'll hit them in the head. So we'll see what kind of numbers I get in here. 1.6 mil, not bad. That's to the chest. 1.7. I'll probably get up to 1.8 and then shoot them in the head. Maybe 1.9. But you can see that's a million. There's 1.85. But you can see just a million just by shooting them in the chest. 1.85. So that's looking like max. And let's see what I hit. 2.81. And then it goes down to 2.2. So 2.81 was a normal headshot. That's pretty good. That was not a crit headshot. I'm trying to see what a normal crit headshot would look like. Alright, so it's 2.88 normally. Nice. And that is my max protection from elites build with the Liberty pistol. I am Kamikazevondoom. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. That way you don't miss a single Division 2 video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.